Congress won't continue to exist if they keep acting like this. I mean,
this country will not continue to exist. If we don't get our financial ship in order, we will sink. And we're $36 trillion in debt. Nobody cares. All they care about is getting through that next election. That's bottom line. Leadership, anybody else. These people are all my friends. I'm not making any friends doing this show.
But the reformers, I notice, people who have a different view or say things like you're saying, so Massey, above all, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you. I'm not saying you guys agree on everything. I don't think you do.
But we're all very close friends.
But you have a similar orientation, which is like actually pro-America. Is this good for the country or is it not?
Yeah.
And all three of you are either dismissed as crazy or really, really hated. In the case of Massey, it's like, you know, he's the target of like a very serious
they're going to they'll dry his money up and spend millions against him.
Is he going to win, do you think?
I don't know. I don't have any idea. I haven't looked at the numbers. I don't pay much attention to polls except election night. If it's close, then I question those.
Yeah, you have every reason to. You said it earlier in our conversation that members of Congress were compromised. What did you mean by that?
Well, I was on. Can I name a rival of yours, or maybe I don't know.
I want you to name anything that comes to mind.
I was on the Benny show, and it was early on, and Benny and I become friends. I didn't realize he was so close to Charlie Kirk, but he had me on early on, and I didn't know who he was. And he asked me about that. And I said, here's the way it works. It's the way it's worked in the past. The Russians even have a name for it, the honeypot. And I don't go on overseas trips much. I've been to one trip, and that was prior. I've been on one Codell. I went to the Mexican border, and I went down one day with Andy Biggs, who's a good Mormon. He's hopefully maybe be the governor of Arizona. But he said, Burchett, we're going on this trip. I know you don't go on these things, but it's one like you'd like. We'll go down there and back. We'll stay in an awful motel. We'll eat some cheap Mexican food, some barbecue, and we'll put you on a plane back to Tennessee. And I said, all right, Andy, I'll do it. And but that's about it that I've done. And so what happens is you're overseas. You're being told how great you are. You're sitting at a bar, and they know what you're into, guys, gals, combination thereof, drugs, whatever, and they'll hook you up, and you're thinking you're the stud. Your wife's away. Nobody will know halfway around the world. You end up sleeping with somebody, and then you're out. Next day, you're flying back to America. You're back front row at the church. And then you're getting ready to make a key vote. And somebody comes up and whispers in your ear, hey, man, were you in a motel room with a girl in, Istanbul or something? And you think, oh, crap. He goes, man, we don't want that out. And he goes, no, we don't. We're not going to put that out. I said, if you can help us on this little bill, though, Now, that's the way they used to do it. And I'm not so certain they don't do that now. And it's funny, when I did that show with Benny, I caught hell. So
you said that.
I said that. And members said, oh, you can't be saying that stuff, Burchett.
Why?
Truth hurts, I guess.
Simply Safe stops crime before it happens, which is the way to stop it. Most security systems work backwards. They react to a break-in. They alert the authorities once someone's already in your house. Woo! You don't want someone in your house in the first place. You want to deter that. That's why you get Simply Safe. AI-powered cameras detect threats while they're still outside your home and then alert real security agents before anything else happens. Those agents take action right away, confront the intruder, let them know they're being watched on camera, call the cops, sound a siren, triggering a spotlight, whatever it takes to get them out of there. That is actual security. Simply Safe's monitoring agents have your back even when you're not at home. Wait for someone to break in a home invasion. Yeah. No thanks. We trust Simply Safe. Why? Well, there are no long-term contracts or hidden fees. It's been named Best Home Security System for 5 years running, and there's a 60-day money-back guarantee. Setup is super easy. The app is simple to use. The monitoring is reliable. Real peace of mind whether you're at home or not. And right now, you can save 50% on a Simply Safe home security system at simplysafe.com/Tucker. Simply Safe, SIMPLI, safe.com/Tucker. There is no safe like Simply Safe. Ever, by the way, just parenthetically, ever been attacked for saying something false or only true things?
Only true things.
Yeah.
Only true things. So it's funny. The next week, Tucker, there was this huge, and I said, it always gets covered up and everything gets covered up and then somebody owns you. That's compromise. That'll be the title of my book if I ever write a book, Tim Burchett's Compromised Washington, because that's what happens, or it has happened in the past. The very next week, a Chinese prostitution ring was busted in where? Washington, D.C. And and it was listed in the paper. Who is their client list? High-ranking officials in government, elected officials, and lobbyists. Now, to me, that's all kinds of red flags going up all over the place. Well, and then the next week, the story disappeared.
Yeah.
Of course it did. But I think what they do now mostly is they have jobs. If you look at these guys and gals and, they have a wife and or girlfriend that'll work in one of these industries. I mean, $100,000 to a multi-billion-dollar corporation is nothing. I mean, it's an extra supply of paper clips or something. I think that's how they do it now. You have them in political offices. You have them in business offices. You have them all over. And
you have what?
They're employed. And so they own your ass. See, they're employed by these people. I'm sorry.
Get my wife a job. Get my girl a job.
Get them both a job, and keep them separate. And, I know of, it's just common. I mean, I hear about it all the time. I hear about
very common.
They just talk, she works over at defense. She works over at justice. She works for this case, or he does, or somebody does, or they work back in the district for such and such. I mean, it's just human nature.
People that members of Congress are sleeping with, either legally or not, are employed by forces that want to control members of Congress.
That's what they used to do. And now I'm pretty sure, I knew of instances where that happened when I was in the legislature. And now they do it through the employment agencies.
Through employment agencies.
They employ them, is what I'm saying.
They employ them. Yeah. No, I know a bunch of members of Congress. I can, right off the top of my head, I can think of with spouses in this or that industry.
And they might be incredibly qualified, but the reality is America's not buying that. Nobody should. But again, 12% of the population votes. This is what you get.
I have noticed, just having spent my life in D.C., that people's personal lives are getting weirder in the Congress. Have you noticed that? Without implicating anyone by name, I don't think I'm imagining this. It's not just sleeping with your scheduler. It's weirder than that now. Have you noticed that?
I try to stay in my office as much as possible.
Okay. Well, I just want to say for the record, I never heard of anybody participating in an orgy in Washington, D.C. in my entire life, and I've heard a lot about it recently. So that is... I wasn't there. I'm not going there, but I think that's real. So
I've never been. I don't know if it is or it isn't. I'd hope that it isn't, and I'd like to think that it isn't, but I've never been invited. So
yeah,
when I was in the state legislature, we used to talk about that. How we knew some people were pretty shady, and but they would never come to somebody like me and offer me anything because they knew my background.
No, and they know you're making skateboards in your garage, so you're busy.
In my barn.
In your barn. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.